Hello, hello, welcome back once again. My name is Monika. This is Guru Grit, a place for learning, and we're carrying on with the creativity series in astrology. So, how do you see a singer in a birth chart? This is really fun. So, part one, we opened strong with a band because every single one of the members had a really high aptitude for creative energy. So, I felt that was a very good way to lay down the foundation. And now we move into singers. And I'll just make a few notes at the end about some other people I didn't do the charts of, but if you want, you can have a look and just listen to how talented they are, and you'll probably recognize them from something because they're absolutely legendary. So let's get into singers. How do you see singers in astrology? So where to look? Trinal houses are really important for creativity. So 159, they're quite spiritual. They have a lot to do with the, I suppose, spiritual capacity or I feel that they're like energetic houses. That's the only way I can really put it from my perception, but I don't know how to make you know that. But 159, very, very important. Okay, if they're aspected by benefics, the rulers are sitting with benefics, they're occupied by benefics, excellent. 2 and 3 for voice, so expression and skill in the third. Second house is the house of the voice, the throat, the voice box. We mentioned that in the first part. And then look to house rules. So that's supposed to say look to house ruler, but that's okay. So, if I want to show you some really awesome combinations that I've noticed a pattern, which is where the rulers of 2 and 3, and sometimes 2, 3, and 5 are all conjunct in another house or in one of those houses, or aspecting, switching with one another. All those things are really amazing. What to look for? Of course, Moon and Venus are the planets of music, and we have Mercury and Jupiter can give creativity and inspiration. Okay, Jupiter is divine knowledge, so if someone's inspired, that's quite helpful. We've noticed that with Greta Van Fleet members. Jupiter aspecting Moon can give ideas, all right? And Mercury, because it rules skill, and Mercury is the creator, so maybe, songwriters. So at the end, I'll mention, very famous songwriters. At least their songs are very famous. So here we have the incredible, iconic Ella Fitzgerald. Probably a day doesn't go by that I don't think of one of the songs that she sung. Her voice just like touches me in the most beautiful way. So I've written here, and we have her beautiful chart, and we've got 2, 3, and 5. So the lords of the second house, which is Mercury, third house, Venus, fifth house, Jupiter, and they are all conjunct in the 10th house of status. So here we have it with the sun, okay? So Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, all conjunct in the sign of Taurus, which rules singers and the voice, and the sun rules singers. It's a career planet. Sun is the strongest in the 10th house. It has Digbala, so it's really kicking butt here. And then we've got, this wonderful, this is a true stellium, okay? So awesome. All in the sign of Taurus. So, I mean, kind of similar to what we had with our previous presentation, but very, very, very wonderful. All right, we also have Moon in the sign of music halls. Gemini and Venus both rule music halls, and we have Moon in the sign of music halls and the house of, networks and people. So I imagine, obviously, in her time, a lot of people came to see her. So yes, heavy Taurus energy. Very, very nice, very, very important. And yes, there is one more thing. I didn't write it, did I? No, but yeah, Moon is the Atmakarka. Moon is the soul planet, and Moon rules music. So somebody who could be naturally quite tuneful, okay, a tuneful individual, have good sense of sound, rhythm, all those things, pitch. Okay, fantastic. Janis Joplin, one of my dad's, I included 2 of my dad's favorites. I had to because I love my dad and he influenced me so much musically because of his tastes, influenced me a lot growing up. Janis Joplin, okay? Mercury and Venus are sitting together. Excellent. In a trinal house, all right? The first house. Perfect. That's quite nice. First Lord in 5th house. So we have the person going into the 5th house of creativity, and Saturn rules Aquarius. So, she's going to naturally be somebody who can creatively self-express. So that's very, very cool, very, very telling. Also here, second Lord Jupiter in the house of work, exalted. So second is the voice again, and it's with the moon, all right? A musical planet, as we said, Venus and Moon, very important. Okay, so 7th Lord in 12th, reserved, good. Yeah, 7th Lord is other people. It's a strong career indicating house, but Sun in the 12th. And we also noticed this with the potential birth time of the guitarist from the last series. If you have a lot of 12th house energy, it's quite nice if you're a creative person because it's the house that rules inspiration and imagination and our dreams. Therefore, you could siphon, you can channel, you have to get your inspiration from somewhere, you know? So if you're really tapped in and tuned into this house of unseen things, it can help carry you. It can help certainly give you ideas or assist in creativity. And also it's more to do with refined arts. So quite nice, quite classy, quite timeless pieces of work. I always, reminds me of like, well, it's close to Christmas time, but before, you know, our current situation, I used to always go, my sister loves the ballet, so I used to take her to see the Nutcracker around Christmas. And it reminds me of like ballet and classical dance, like world dance, like classical Indian dancing, you know, classical music, like Tudor style paintings and maybe velvet painting, something really, really old school. So very good. And a lot of things that are done in secret. Okay, so 12th house is the house of isolation. So if you're going to study and master your craft, it's nice to have the planet that rules career and dominates your 7th there to take time to focus. Now, again, we have another Moon in Ardra person. Yeah, Moon in Ardra, the howler. She certainly could. And speaking of howling, I really wanted to mention for Janis Joplin. Oh yeah, also, so 1st Lord goes in the 5th, but look at this. 5th Lord also sits in the 1st. It's Mercury. So we have an exchange between 1 and 5. So a person who probably had to express themselves. They really couldn't keep it in, and it's probably exacerbated by her Ardra moon. In any case, 5th house is the house of creative self-expression. If I see a retrograde Saturn, afflicted Saturn, debilitated Saturn, something to, because Saturn rules limitation. So if I see him in 2 or 5, sometimes 3, you know, if he's there maybe with like Mercury, sometimes the moon, because it has a lot to do with like expressing your emotion or how you feel in the moment or your mind, what you've got on your mind. It's not uncommon. I have seen this in other people's charts that have a raspy or like a deep voice or like a cracked voice. And she has a very raspy voice and she has a retrograde Saturn in the 5th. Okay, you can see variations of this in other people's charts. It's very, very cool. I've seen, you know, people with stutters, speech impediments who had to go to speech therapy, and then sometimes they outgrow it and sometimes they don't. But another thing it can do in the 2nd as well is give some sort of fixation on either highly orthodox or unorthodox eating timetables, you know, like, so maybe you're like, why do I have to eat dinner at dinner? I want dinner for breakfast and I want to have breakfast for dinner. I'm having cereal at 8 p.m. and I'm having roast chicken at 7 in the morning. So very, very cool. So just bear that in mind. You know, you can kind of like, once we get into the swing of looking for the houses, the planets, it should just come to you very naturally. I'm trying to get you to see just how doable this is for anybody. So Saturn in the 5th, raspy voice, perfect, check mark. Love Janis Joplin, excellent example. Okay, Miley Cyrus, who's like not even 50% loaded. Like she hasn't even begun to pop off with what she's going to do. I have extremely high hopes and high expectations, I will say, of Miley Cyrus. I think she's incredible. Okay, we have Mercury ruling the 2nd, Moon ruling the 3rd. So 2nd, the 3rd, and the 5th. So the 5th lords and the 3rd lord, which is Mercury, rules Gemini and Virgo, and Moon rules Cancer. We have them conjunct in the 7th house, a public house of other people. Very cool. So Mercury, the creator, with Moon, which has a lot to do with, you know, music and harmony, sitting together in a public house. This is absolutely fantastic. I really, really like it. So we have the house of the voice and the house of self-expression and the house of general expression and writing. Boom, all sitting together. And you know, Mercury rules writing, Moon rules music, but Moon-Mercury conjunction is the top thing you will see for writers anyway. So this is just beyond the beyond amazing. And Venus is in a good house, all right? Venus is the art and she is in a trinal house, the 9th house. So this is really, really fantastic, and also occupies the 1st by her rulership. She rules Taurus in the 9th. Beautiful for a creative entity, just somebody who's really wants to express themselves. So this is an excellent example. And then another thing I had to do for my love of my dad, Edith Piaf. He loves Edith Piaf. I listened to her loads growing up. So 2nd Lord, again, the voice, the 2nd house, is rule here Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, sits in the 5th house of creativity in its own sign. Wow, isn't that something? And we have 3rd Lord of expression, Saturn, in the 9th, really good for creativity as well. Yes, he's debilitated and aspecting Venus and all that, but it's something, okay? It's quite nice. Very nice. I put 7th Lord in the 3rd. Yeah, it's the house of other people, strong indicating house for career in the 3rd house for expressing oneself, skill. You know, can you work hard? Can you practice? Are you diligent? Okay, the 3rd house has to do with effort, self-effort, and our willpower. We also saw in the last series, the members had 3rd house activity. Very nice. Like Venus was there, Moon was there. Here we have Venus once again. Beautiful. And the nodes on the axis of 4 and 10 is very nice for career, especially Mars in the 10th. Yeah, he's strongest in the 10th house, so he's just pulling this chart going sky high. So very, very nice. Okay, so excellent little chart. Just really, really like that. All right, and there's more. You know, there's, again, Moon is aspecting Sun and Mercury. Very nice. Okay, we have Lata Mangeshkar, who is an absolute icon, legend. Okay, she is a singer. It's called a playback singer. You know, in movies, like if you, I believe it happened for Selena. Jennifer Lopez wanted to use her own voice and they didn't let her. They used Selena's original voice. Now, in lots of movies, when they don't let actors sing the parts, they get what's known as a playback singer. So this is very, very common in the film industry. So Lata Mangeshkar is a playback singer from India who sang on over like 1,000 films. She's an absolute legend, and her chart is stunning. Okay, so here we have Mercury, Venus having an exchange, right? Mercury rules Virgo, Venus rules Libra, and they have exchanged. This is awesome. Okay, so we have 2nd ruler in the 3rd, so the voice in the house of expression. This is very cool. And I put 3rd Lord in the, I put 3rd Lord in 5th. It's, yeah, Sun rules Leo, sits in the 5th house of creative self-expression, so skill, talent, discipline, practice. And she did say that her voice is a gift from God. She said 75% of it is a gift from God, but you have to be disciplined. You have to practice every day. You have to sing. You have to put in the work, you know. So we've got that 3rd house energy. We've got that 5th house energy of talent anyway. So it's quite nice. And again, 7th Lord Jupiter in the 1st house. This is a very nice little, even though he's debilitated, you know, Sarah Silverman has like the reverse of this. She's got Gemini rising, Mercury, no, Sagittarius rising, and she has 7th Lord Mercury in the 1st house debilitated. But what you do is you take that house of other people and trade, and you become like a brand. So you take the energy, put it in the 1st house. So even though it's debilitated, it shows if it's debilitated, it can give strong results if you work hard. So if you work hard, you know, you can be as successful as these wonderful ladies. So this chart is absolutely insane. It's incredible. And I've heard about her when I was in high school. I had some classmates who used to sing a song from this movie called Caravan, which came out in the 70s. And she sang on that movie, and there's an amazing dance sequence in it, and a song by another really famous playback singer. I think she holds like a record for how many songs she's also done. She's really, really well known, very established, Asha Bhosle. And Asha Bhosle sang a song called Piya Tu Ab Tu Aja, which has my name in it. So my classmates used to tease me by singing that. But I was always into watching Bollywood movies, so it didn't bother me very much. It's just another one of those things I added to my list. But I've loved following their work. And as you see here, of course, it's very, very evident that you can see a singer very easily. So very, very beautiful chart, both of these. And Asha Bhosle also has, I think she has a Mercury Mercury, Venus, Parivartan yoga as well. One of my favorites, very sultry, very, very awesome, awesome voice of Julie London. I love Julie London. Just, you just feel like, as someone once said, it's like you're in a room alone with her. She doesn't sing to an audience, she sings to you directly. Here we go. Mercury, Venus. Let's see. Mercury and Venus, once again, exchanging, okay? The boys from Greta Van Fleet, the brothers, the twin brothers have this. They have it between Gemini and Taurus, but nevertheless, the rulers exchange. Wonderful. Moon in the third, in the sign of music halls, Gemini, that's quite wonderful. And second and third lords exchange. Did I write that correctly? No, they don't exchange. I got that wrong. I already mentioned it. First lord in the second. Yeah, that's what I meant. First lord, Mars in the second. So you take yourself, your brand, your self-image, and you put it in the second house of the voice, all right? So, with Mars there, this could have been an amazing advocate, like a litigator, somebody who debates very well, goes into a really competitive field. And of course, if it's aspected by Saturn, she surely was in a competitive field and she managed to become quite successful. So really nice chart. Peggy Lee, very good example again. Moon is the soul planet in the first house. Another thing I noticed just by doing this series, I've looked at like over 50 charts. Moon and Virgo people, very, very common, okay, especially if they write their own music. Okay, so it's in the sign of like scholastics and books and all these things. And Gemini too. Gemini energy, you'll see a lot. Gemini has a lot. Gemini and Virgo are both very scholastic. They have a lot to do with learning. And though I think of Virgo as books, Gemini actually rules like sheets of paper, like papyrus. So maybe people who like scribble and like do little doodles on pieces of napkins and stuff like that. So very, very cool. All right. Venus in the 9th house, excellent for arts in its own sign, in a trinal house, okay, in the sign of singers. And look at that. She's also ruling the 2nd house, and we take this energy of Libra and Venus and posit it in the 9th, which is like sort of you can feel, the 9th has a lot to do with religion and divinity. So they could have been very devoted to their work. And actually, with the South Node there, could have had like a transcendental or spiritual experience while working or while singing. And I also just wanted to point out that Mercury sits in the 10th. Okay, she's a Virgo rising. Mercury rules Virgo, goes into the 10th house. This is excellent for success. This is a success marker. So even if you were a Gemini rising and your Mercury went into the 10th and debilitated in Pisces, it will help you. It will help you, okay? It will take you, all of astrology will only take you so far. Remedies can only take you so far. You have to do the work. You have to believe in yourself. But we can see here that this is going to help somebody. Okay. And third lord in the 2nd, house of expression, acting, skill, effort, goes into the 2nd house of the voice. So clearly someone who practiced, applied themselves. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful chart. So thank you so much for being here. I hope it's been helpful and interesting. Other charts I thought were really cool. Speaking of Virgo moon, Cy Coleman was a composer who wrote some of my favorite songs since like I was in high school. One of my favorite songs, which was made really popular by Frank Sinatra, The Best Is Yet to Come, and Witchcraft. Of course, I love that song. And he was like a child prodigy, and he was a jazz pianist. He composed hundreds of songs. He had Venus in its own sign of Taurus, Mercury in its own sign of Gemini, and he had Moon in Virgo, and he collaborated a lot with prolific lyricists, Carolyn Lee and Dorothy Fields, who's written like hundreds. I don't mean like 100. I mean like 4, 5, 6 hundreds of songs in their time. They would have like incredible work ethic. You can look at their charts as well and see, just look for Mercury, look for Venus, look for the moon. I think moon and sun make an exchange in the chart of Dorothy Fields. I think moon is with Mercury as well. Super cool. So once we're getting the hang of this, we're knowing what to look for, it's going to come very easily to us. So thank you for being here. I'm going to film musicians next. I'm going to be recycling some of these charts quite a bit. John Mayer's chart is good for so many things. So we're going to have a look at that. And thanks for watching. I love you all. If you have any questions, as always, just let me know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making your requests and suggestions. I did not include Lana Del Rey in this presentation, though she's one of my favorite people today, living today, but I want to do her chart individually because it's really, really something a bit stunning and unique, and you can get a lot of depth out of it. So I kind of want to pick at it and take you with me on that journey so we know what to look for when we look for things in creativity. So thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time. Let me know if you have any questions, and I love you all. Bye for now.